Welcome to Thursday Flow, and we're talking about why power over willpower, part two of a four-part series. And the first thing I want to say is why this matters so much, because this is the very thing I use every day. My why to get up in the morning is to attend to my animals, first and foremost. At the moment, that is what gets me out of bed. You can use it when fear, doubt, or imposter syndrome creeps in, or when something's holding you back or something has shaken you somewhat in some way. I go back to my why power, my why. Why am I doing this? Right now, with my energy levels being depleted after each chemotherapy session, it would be very easy to stay sitting feeling what I say stuck. And honestly, it can feel quite comfortable staying there, stuck, sitting on my veranda in the early hours of the morning, watching and listening to the abundance of nature around me. And yet, this is exactly when my why becomes so important. Mind you, it can take me quite a while to navigate that inner pathway and actually find my why again. But without it, if I relied solely on willpower, I could quite possibly still be sitting there watching the world go by. So, what does this really mean? Why power over willpower means that when you truly know your why, you can stand in it all day because it's purpose driven. You're not forcing anything. And you and I both know flowing energy is never forced. It's like when you're standing in your confidence, when you're in the zone, it's just you. And everything flows effortlessly and easily, doesn't it? Think about this. A business doesn't open its doors without a why, without a mission. And yet, so many of us wander through days without anchoring ourselves to our why, especially first thing in the morning, which I find is essential. And yes, I have been guilty of this. And when I say anchoring, I mean seriously anchoring. Because when you anchor to your why, you hitch yourself more tightly to your purpose. And this matters. Because when imposter syndrome shows up, when doubt creeps in, as it will, if you're anchored to your why, to why you specifically have been called here, why you have chosen to be here, you can stand confidently in a room, stand confidently in yourself, and go after it, believing in you. So, before we go any further, I want to guide you through a short reflection. So, if it's safe to do so, just soften your gaze or gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and exhale gently. Now, imagine a documentary being made about your life. Picture the opening scene. Where are you? On the beach, in a woodland, in your house, in a different country, on the snow? Where are you? The music begins. Is it soft and gentle or loud and awakening? You see moments of your story, the challenges, the triumphs, and the quiet, courageous ones. If someone were narrating this film, what would they say you stood for? What quality defined how you lived? What mattered most to you? Now let a single word rise. Not forced, not rushed, just noticed. What's the word? It might be courage, love, integrity, growth, service, faith, impact, value. This word doesn't have to be perfect right now. It might just be the beginning of what will become your word. Just let it be honest and rise to the surface. Now ask yourself quietly, if I lived by this word more fully, how would I show up today? How would I speak to others, to me? How would I act in front of others? How would I act all by myself? How would I treat others? And very importantly, how would I treat myself? Am I being true to myself by acting, speaking, and treating myself as I would others? Now, let me tell you, that's a real test, and one very well worth monitoring. Take one more slow breath in, and when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Now, that word, or the word that's beginning to form, is a clue to your why. It's a clue to your power word. And if you'd like to refine it further, here's a deeper exercise you can do later. Go to Google and search core values list. You'll see hundreds of words. Read through them slowly and notice what words pull at you. What resonates? What feels like you? Circle the ones, highlight the ones you stand for. You'll likely end up with a big list. Then bring it down to 10. Now, if that's too difficult, because it certainly was for me, simply halve the list and keep halving the list until you are down to 10 and then 5. And finally, choose just one. One word that if this were your life anthem, people would say, I knew her for this. That is your why. That is your core power. That is your power word. So my power word is courage. A few years ago, I decided my word would be courage. Courage is my power word. Courage is my word. And if I were to go tomorrow, I would hope you'd say, Margherita, she stood for courage. Her actions, her inspiration showed a woman journeying through the unknown courageously while inspiring others. I also hope that today, this conversation gives you fuel that awakens something in you so you can stand in your giftedness. And how did this word come about for me? After a devastating divorce, I needed courage to move into the unknown. At 60 plus, it was a daunting and overwhelming experience to have to rebuild my finances, align with my true identity, and find purpose once again. And then, hot on the heels of that, came a cancer diagnosis. I needed courage, and I still do, to move through this as a single, mature woman on a small farm. My purpose evolved slowly, and I came to realize that I'm not here just for me. I'm here to use my gift of courage to serve. And just quietly, during this chemotherapy journey, I also had to learn when my body genuinely needed rest, as opposed to a lack of why power. A very, very fine line, if ever there was one. If I had relied purely on willpower to get up, do my exercises, work on my rehab, keep refining my craft, I can assure you I could quite easily still be sitting on the front veranda enjoying the delights of nature. But because I was united with my why, I can get back up and say, I have a mission, I have a purpose, and I need to do this. Get up, Margherita. And there is profound reward in seeing others benefit from my lived experience, my courage, and my coaching. So think about this. The military knows its mission. A business owner knows their mission. Schools have a mission. Even children have a subconscious mission to have fun and more fun. And you have a mission. We need you. Your mission is your why. Your mission is who you are and what you want to stand for. And when you know this, you can get back up again and again. You can stand confidently, defying imposter syndrome, defying any fear or doubt that wants to creep in. Even right now, as I'm recuperating from the lethargy of chemotherapy, this podcast has been a great reminder for me. It's been absolutely brilliant to be able to do this today. I could easily have chosen to sit and vegetate for most of the day, giving myself permission to recuperate, to allow myself to give my body time to heal. But instead, I'm driven in this moment to serve you, to awaken your greatness, and to keep my own greatness alive as well by having the courage to move forward, even if it is slowly, rather than to stagnate. And when I do this, it feels like I'm sharing a gift. It feels like I have a purpose to my life. It gives purpose to my journey through this cancer. And that also gives me energy. So here are some other examples that might help you in defining your word. Perhaps your word is value. You might walk into a meeting and ask, how can I add value right now? At home, you might ask, how can I add value to my family? And even with a stranger walking down the street, a smile adds so much value to that person. A kind or friendly word to the person in the queue with you. You're adding value. Unbeknownst, you're adding value to their life. Can you see how powerful this is? When you focus daily on your mission, you show up better. You're more intentional. Life feels better. And for me, that is so important at the moment when I can't ride. I haven't got the energy to ride. So to be able to have a purpose other than riding my horse and being out there with my horse, to be able to be sharing with others and helping others just makes it so much more meaningful. You seem to have more fun, you're more confident, you're in your zone, you're in your flow. And how nice is that? So another example is a woman who chose greatness as her word. She wanted to inspire greatness in her sport. Everything was going honky-dory, going really well, until she got injured. She could no longer show up on the field, but instead of losing her identity, after some time, she was able to reframe it. And she began to ask, how can I still inspire greatness? And so she began mentoring, encouraging, uplifting her team, her community, and younger athletes, even more importantly, for them to be coming through into the sport. She realised she could still contribute through her personality, her presence, her gift, not just on the field. And lastly, I want to say this. Your why is not your role. It doesn't matter if you're a player, an executive, a mum, a retiree. The role does not define you. Your why is bigger than any one role. It's how you choose to show up in life. So when you get knocked off centre and there's a setback, when doubt or imposter syndrome creeps in, come back to your why, because why power will always carry you farther than willpower ever could. You cannot rely on willpower alone. It must be the why power. Use this and you will always find your footing again. I have. With heart, Margherita.